Hey, Hank. Babe, people are in the green room. Better hurry. And there we are. We are here with you all now. No longer am I sitting here pee-patting, waiting for Jamie to get ready. And I have nothing else to do besides just read all these wonderful comments.
Yeah, because Jamie gets up and does all the chores. So yeah, you have to wait.
I'm not going to call out any names of who does what and who doesn't do this and do that. I'm going to start
pee-patting you while you're sleeping.
No, you're
Be
not.
Like, here I am. It's this time, and I have this many chores done, and here's still this. So that's the new thing. I'm going to go live in the mornings and pee-pat Lester.
So I guess I should apologize for taking you out last night, buying you a wonderful dinner, and all of the things that made me stay up later than normal. So, okay, if you want me. So, and then don't forget that Jamie's also the kind who will fall asleep right on this couch here on this recliner.
I have no idea what happened in the show we were watching last night because I fell directly asleep.
And then we have, we're like everybody else. We have our favorite shows. And the problem is every morning, the night after, I have to tell her, I have to give her a recap. I have to give her a recap of what she missed while she slept.
It's true.
And then when Survivor came on this week, it was a we enjoy watching Survivor. It's been on for so many seasons. We've watched a lot of them together. But she was falling asleep. I'm like, hey, wake up. Hey, wake up. Jamie, look, Jamie, they're going to vote. Jamie, they're voting. Jamie. And she was so mad at me.
It was like trying to keep somebody awake when they're driving, I guess, is what Lester took that upon himself, that it was like a critical moment and was necessary. Yeah. So he like shook me. I have shaken baby syndrome now. And
hold on. This is so funny what I did, though. So at some point before the vote, I'm like, you know what? Screw this. So I turned the TV on. I'm like, oh, babe, you missed a good one. Here's what's crazy. She falls asleep during the TV, but when she hears the TV turning off, as it turns off, she wakes wide awake, like ready for bed. And so she hears a doo-doo-doo. I'm like, man, you missed a good one. In real life, it was still going. I just turned the TV off.
He's so mean. Mean.
I created a fake narrative of what happened. I'm like, man, you missed a really good one. Jeff was saying this, and they had this tribal council, and all these people were arguing.
Wow.
And she's like, what? I'm like, not really, watch. And I turned it back on, and she's like, why did you do that? And back she falls right to sleep.
Wait, do I really snore?
Yeah, you snore. Not maybe as loud as that.
I was like, because I'm sitting up in a chair and I snore.
Well, I mean, not as loud as I just did that right there, but
you can hear me breathe.
Anyway, good morning, everybody. Cheers to you all.
Happy Saturday.
This is our first cup of coffee. And then to be honest, I did wake up at 6:30 this morning, and I went and I started the coffee, and I went to lay back down. And normally I can start smelling the coffee brewing, and I'll go ahead and start waking up. You all can smell in your sleep. I can smell the coffee brewing, and I start waking up. Yet this morning I smelled no coffee brewing. And I finally rolled out of the bed later than what I normally would to find out that, there was no water in the coffee maker. So I pressed the button to start and nothing started.
I normally pre-make the coffee. So in the morning, all you got to do is, as you're making bottles, you hit the button, you go out and do bottles, and you feed up. And then by the time you come back in, you have a lovely batch of coffee. And fail on my part. So
anywho, we have a very exciting. Yes, I will go ahead and address that. I've seen a couple of questions. Lester, new shirt. So I do have a lady. It's actually Daniel's lady. The lady who goes to Daniel and Lou's church.
Hold on. You can't say it's Daniel's lady because that's Lou. Daniel's shirt lady.
Daniel's shirt lady. That's my brother, Uncle Dan. He goes to church with the lady who does shirt making on the side. She has a full-time job, but she also has she plays around with whatever you call this.
I think it's heat. I feel it. So it feels heat transfer. It doesn't feel like screen print.
So this is not the official shirt. This was a prototype. A prototype. This was the prototype that we did not like. I went by yesterday. Jamie and I went by yesterday to her place, and she walked me into her shop.
Lester got undressed in front of another woman yesterday.
I did. I had to undress in front of another woman
while I waited in the car on a work call.
And she says, "Here, try this on." And I'm like, I look to the left, I look to the right. I don't see a curtain. So I'm like, oh, yeah, no problem. So I just go ahead and pull my shirt on up and put this one on. And she never blinked an eye. And she never did this. She never looked me up and down because I was watching her eyes. I'm like, go ahead. Look me up and down, lady. I didn't say it, but I was saying, look, go ahead. Look me up and down. I'm sucking my gut in, man. I'm sticking my chest out, making my shoulders look broad. And I pull my other shirt off real slow. Like I start from here and I come up. And I do this, and then I like slowly extended the.
That poor woman.
And I'm like, look at me, lady, look at me. And she's like,
now normally he winces when he makes that shoulder move. He's like, ow. So he held all that together too.
It does. It hurts so bad. When I get up to here, it hurts so bad. And I do normally wince. I almost scream. But no, I was like going to put on a show for this lady. And she had no dressing room. So I'm like. And I was wearing this cap too, and I kept the cap on the whole time, but I put it down kind of low so I looked a little bit more sexy, a little bit more British. And I put that cap nice and low on, and I barely peeped over. The brim of my cap here, and she never looked at me for nothing. She was just holding the shirt, like waiting. And I'm like, damn, all that for nothing. But no, I put the shirt on, so we don't
That's
like
what you get. That's what you get. He's probably like.
Here's what we don't like about it. So I gave her the ideas. I wanted to have both the logos for Facebook and YouTube on it. We don't like that. Also, I wanted to have the logo here, or I wanted it to be in the middle where we normally do it, but it was right there in the elbow crease. She didn't like that. So she moved it down, and we don't like this. So we're going to take the logo completely off the arm. This is not for sale. We're not selling these. This is for me.
This is Lester's personal new wardrobe.
It's my uniform look, and I really enjoy the shirts that Jamie had made a while back. Oh, no. What did you find? Well, you almost spit your coffee out. Did you tell her you're a lord? I bet she would have looked then. If I
think she would have rolled her eyes 3 times.
Hi, I'm Lord Lester. How are you? Stacy, take it back. Stacy, take it back. If you would just take it back, you could save me all this embarrassment. Anywho's, we tried on a couple of different shirts. We have one I'm having made for I'm a Survivor Sanctuary. And I'm having another made for Longhorn Lester's. The Longhorn Lester shirt was perfect.
So this is. Can I tell them where it stemmed from?
I don't care. That's fine.
So Daniel gave Lester a shirt, a Daniel Morrow's outdoor shirt, and Lester wore it. And just like all new things that Lester gets, like the baby blue shirts, all of that, he was like, "This is my new uniform. This is what I'm gonna wear. This is it. This is what I'm doing." I'm like, "You can't wear that same shirt every day. You're not. No." So he asked Daniel where he got it from, and that is what prompted this.
So really wonderful lady, and she has her very own shop. I think that this is the kind of place that a lot of women dream of. So in their garage, which is where the lady led me, they have it divided in half, and there's no cars in the garage. Okay, there's no cars. On one half of the garage is obviously the man cave. It's all of her husband's stuff. It's obvious. There's a four-wheeler sitting there. There's a workout bench. That was as dusty as mine is, okay? I'm just going to say his workout bench had even more cobwebs than mine does. What does that tell you? But it had some darts where he'd been throwing some darts. He had a little, like those little mini refrigerators.
Awesome.
Where he probably has his cold drinks, his, what do you call them? The He had some alcohol sitting around it, but in the fridge, mixers where you have your mixers and stuff, is Coke, whatever. Anyway, it was neat. And then we go into her side of the garage. She had a little sliding door, not a big one, but just a little sliding door, a little louver door, they call them. And also on her side is all of her little yarns and her knitting stuff and all her little, she has a she shed. She has a she shed.
Which is what
in that, like, she had a computer where she does all of her designing, I guess. A little computer sitting there, then a machine beside it where I guess it makes it. And then, of course, lots and lots of clothes racks where she had a lot of stuff hanging. So it was my first time inside of a real she shed that wasn't full of plants. I saw no plants whatsoever, but I saw everything else that you could imagine.
What do you mean a real she shed?
No, well, I'm saying that you have a greenhouse. You also have a little closet over here that has a bunch of stuff in it. It doesn't matter.
Imagine if it was all in one, though. Imagine that if it was a greenhouse and then a little craft room she sheddy thing off to the side. The only thing else I would need would be a bathroom. Like, that is my one thing is like,
they had a bathroom in there too, by the way.
Oh, see, that's perfect. That's perfect. Steph has a she shed now, her barn.
With the bathroom.
Yeah.
No, but no, so I got another shirt. So we're going to take this design. So she gave me the shirt. You can just have that one. But she's going to do the same one, but take off the YouTube, take off the Facebook, and then take off the big rocking M on the arm, on the sleeve. And she's going to make me several of those for both Longhorn Lester and
a very weird thing, though. I think that I'm a Survivor should be this way.
No, because if my arm's extended and you're reading
it. You can't even pick up your arm that far.
I know I can't pick it up, but if I ever do my arm around you and you can support me.
But if you're like in general, like putting it out there, it should be the other way. Like if you're sitting here like this.
You're reading it backwards.
No, sir, I'm reading it this way. Now put your arms down like you had the other one.
You're reading from here down. Does that look backwards? I don't know. I'm okay with the shirt. The same way Daniel's shirts are. I like it. Oh no! Now they're all going to agree with you because you're a girl. Oh man!
This has nothing to do with gender.
Well, anywho's, so thank you for asking. Thank you for noticing. And yes, this is a new shirt, and I'm going to have 10 of these at some point. And I told Jamie this, I'm going to wear them every day, not the same one, but I will go through my shirts. So thank you. Now we have some people who agree with me. Lester's right, but just this one time. I saw it. It flew by pretty fast, but I did see it.
That's just because they...
Now, what you all may see, though, I don't know for a fact if it's mirrored or not.
I can read it right. It's not, the words aren't backwards.
So when you're seeing it on the computer, on your TV or your device, I think you're seeing it the right way.
I'm just saying, like in normal print clothing and stuff, it's bottom to top.
You would never go, I'm a Survivor Sanctuary this way.
Yes.
I don't agree. Thank you all.
I do have my phone. Oh no, I've been recording for 45 minutes.
Oh no, Jamie had her phone in her pocket recording.
That's a shame. 45. Oh boy. Hold on.
I'm just really curious where she's going to go with all of this, but it doesn't matter. I like the shirt. I'll show you all something I recorded this morning. I hope I don't get in trouble for this. Jamie, is that scary that I may get in trouble for this and I'm going to show them anyway?
No.
It may. Oh, don't accept that. Don't accept that. Don't accept that. It might make for some very interesting conversation. I think it'll make for some very interesting conversation this morning, Jamie. All right. We ready for this, Jamie Cakes?
Well, I hate to tell you. They do it every way.
Oh, yeah. They do it every way, y'all. Okay. So. Question of the day.
Oh no.
Just watch.
I know that mostly women will be watching this video, so sorry, I don't mean to sound crude or vulgar, but how many of you ladies ever feel like Annie?
Real question.
Like, just hurry up. How much
longer?
Why did you
do this on?
How long do I have to stay here or lay here? I got things to do. The kids need me.
Upsy is watching. This is horrible.
Hello, could we go any faster? Could we just speed this up a little bit? Oh my gosh. Come on. And then at this point, you start faking it.
Oh my God.
Okay. Was that not I don't know the right word choice over here, but was that so true to real life? Ernie is like thinking that, yes, what a romantic morning we're going to have. Sitting here, we've already had a nice dinner, or in this case, a breakfast. We're sitting here in a beautiful green pasture. The light rain is falling around us. This is a nice chance for you and I to really connect, sweet girl, sweet love. This is what Ernie's saying. And Annie's like, oh, God, here we go again. And Annie just sits there. And I didn't capture this action, but she kept turning around, looking at, she's like a contortionist. Annie is a contortionist. She can contortion her head around. And she's like, look at him, spit at him. And he's like, just real slow, just being real gentle, loving her, just loving the moment. At some point, oops, he walks up like, hey, when are we going to, Mom, what is taking so long or whatever? And Annie's like, I don't know, dear. My God, this is dragging on forever and ever. And my question of the day to you all is caption that. I want you all to caption that for me, because don't say, ladies, you've not been there. Do not say you haven't been there. I don't know what they call it, but even though it's farm life, it's so real to us, and especially you ladies. So I would love it if the ladies later on when I post that video, just caption that moment. Okay?
All I'm going to say is that Ernie must be having a good day. Ernie must be feeling good.
Margaret says no comment.
That's the plus that we're going to take out of that, is that Ernie feels well today.
Okay, since ladies are too embarrassed to caption it, let me ask you this.
Oh my God.
What? If the ladies are being too embarrassed to caption that moment, fine. But let me ask you this. Has every woman been there? Just yes or no, like, oh my God, oh, how much longer? This is the most ridiculous thing ever. Oh, Lord. Thank you for all the, are we done yet, says Elaine. So see, even though it's alpaca today, look at all of the yeses, Jamie. High five. I knew that the ladies were all going to say that, yes, we've all been there, Lester. Thank you. Now, can we move on? Fine, we can move on. Seriously, let's just move on now. Someone put in all caps, absolutely yes. Cheers, ladies. We love you anyway. You don't have to love us back, but we love you nonetheless, okay? Put the cream in the coffee, Ernie. I didn't say it. Someone over here did. One of these sweet ladies just said that.
I just want to go to the barn. I'm just ready to go to the barn.
Thank you all. Thank you. See, that's what we have to do, y'all, is make this page fun again. We're going to make the page fun again. We're going to, oh no. Someone who's named Facebook user says, please just stop. Okay, Facebook user, I will. But that was funny.
All the Facebook people are Facebook users today.
Oh, no. But I am happy to see all the laughy faces. So even though you're not laughing, you're rolling your eyes. I bet you half the ladies out there are also rolling their eyes. If there's any men who are sitting around watching with their ladies, they're laughing their tails off. They're laughing. Men my age are probably going, What? That's how I imagine a bunch of older men laugh. They hit their knees. What's wrong with you? So am I right?
This is his first cup of coffee, for the record. This is Lester's very first cup. It's like he held it all in today. He got extra rest.
Stop saying listen, here's what I've done with my morning. It was 9:30 our time when we clicked go live. Yes? Okay. So before that, I've already set and had me a bottle of water, water bottle.
He's well hydrated. That's the problem.
I needed the water bottle to clear my throat, get everything ready for, I also got the ant poison, and I walked around the entire yard and I put out all the ant poison because we have ants who are springing up out of nowhere, and I don't know why.
Well, we're getting a lot of rain is what the
We're getting a lot of rain.
Which is not an issue. I don't want to say the issue is, but a lot of rain will bring the ants out, and they're out in full force. Both the leaf cutter ants are back, and Fire ants. How do you say fire ants?
Fire ants.
Yeah.
Yuck, 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 yuck. Okay.
I just saw a comment that said that your dad took the camper out this morning.
No, he did not.
Yeah.
My dad took his camper out finally after how long has he had it?
I think they got internet hooked up last night because your dad made a video about that too. That he
Oh,
worked all night. So
boy.
there are big things happening on Morrow Hill at
So
Papa's house.
I did talk yesterday about the whole fiasco with the internet on Morrow Hill. And my mom just says, you know what? I'm done with all this nonsense. And she just cut everybody off. She just went to town, cutting everybody off, getting her back. So her and dad are back online and everyone else.
Nobody else has internet.
No one else. Everyone else is struggling. Poor LE had to use his phone as a hotspot so that Megan could make her videos. And for an entire family of video creators, having no internet is like the end of our world, y'all.
But at least they have each other to be able to, like, you know, just go. If you remember, we used to sit outside of Jake's house.
Yes, I talked about that yesterday on my live. Yes.
Before Jake had internet, though, we were at Starbucks,
Panera Bread. The bus barn, where I drove a bus for, we would go to the bus barn because they had great internet. And we'd sit at the bus barn after all the bus drivers were gone. The police would drive by. He goes, "What's going on, Mr. Morrow?" I'm like, "I'm just using your internet."
Yeah, because we had a good cell phone signal there. They didn't even have Wi-Fi to connect to. Now, Starbucks had Wi-Fi to connect to. Panera had Wi-Fi to connect to. And there was one other place that we used one time. I don't remember what it was. That's the dishwasher. But anyway, then we would go sit outside of Jake's house when Jake had it. And we actually used his spare room as a live studio. And poor Jake would have to give up his house several times a week.
Oh, yes.
For us to go in there.
Well, he made an entire room just for a studio.
Yeah.
So real fast, for those who don't know what I'm talking about, many people are calling because they know what happened, but all of the addresses are in disarray. And it all started because of Jake. Jake started the whole thing. So I'm not going to tell you the whole story because it's a long one, but I will say that everybody on Morrow Hill is using the wrong address with AT&T.
But it's not their fault. It's AT&T's fault. To be honest with you.
It's Jake's fault. Jake started. I'm going to blame Jake for this. Jake's going to get the blame for this over here.
It's AT&T's fault because they just went by.
They drove up my driveway to hook up to Jake's house and assumed that my driveway was Jake's address.
Yes.
So they wrote it up on the ticket as 10508, which is my address. And so Jake.
It was never malicious, and none of us even knew any of those things.
It's not malicious.
It's just that there are a lot of people that live on Morrow Hill, and whenever AT&T was not aware of that when they created the little box with all of the holes to be able to plug into.
The ports, yeah.
Yes. So AT&T didn't know that there were so many addresses up there in separate homes, and that's the root cause here is that. And I only know that because I've spent over 8 hours
on the phone
with AT&T. I got to speak to the head engineer in Springfield, Missouri this week at AT&T, though. And I've been to Springfield, Missouri several times, so I was able to talk about my favorite restaurants and their hospital and all kinds of fun things while we're waiting for all of these things to verify. But I FaceTimed and did screen recordings of like showing Morrow Hill and going, nope, that's a house. That's a house. That's a house. Nope, that's a shed. Nope, that's one of Papa's other sheds. That's another shed. So
you know how sometimes I come home and I complain because I spent like 6 hours on the tractor when I mow. So I mowed the JL Ranch property. There's 50 acres over there, and I've mowed it 4 or 5 times so far. But every time I mow, it's like a 20 plus hours of mowing. And so I don't do it all in the same day, but I will mow about 4 or 5 hours a day until I get it all knocked out, which takes an entire week, right? But I will come home and I'll just complain about sitting on that tractor for 4 or 5 hours, and it's just beat me to death and my knees are hurting. And, but I would rather do 4 hours on a tractor than 8 hours on hold with AT&T. I can promise you that. And guys, she's not making this up. She had to change calls around and switch calls around. She had 2 phones going at the same time, one on hold, one while she's working her Zoom. It was crazy working with AT&T.
And it isn't over yet.
Oh,
not over yet.
No, that was just one day of the initial figuring it all out.
But we're getting closer. So happy that G and Pop have internet again, and it's about to get crazy this next week at Morrow Hill. But what I said to Lester was the best solve would be that I can physically be there while an AT&T person is on the ground, because they don't communicate well. Like, like the people in an office have no idea about the reality of things, especially there. So my hope is that I'm gonna go camp out and stalk an AT&T van because they're out there every day. The neighborhood's just exploding like crazy. So they have like districts of things. So my hope is like, I'm going to go find a guy that physically does it. And then I'm going to get on the phone with the new phone number I have to call this office directly with all of my ticket numbers. And we're going to sort this crap out all in one day to literally make it happen.
And did you say how it goes with the 911, how it's all linked together?
It's all linked to the 911 addresses. Yeah. And what really the foundation of all of that is as the neighborhood was being developed across the street, we have at Morrow Hill a different like a different series of addresses than actually what align across the street. And which is also why we've always had a hard time putting in our address and getting deliveries and things like that, because it doesn't align right in that sector, in like, we go from 101 to 105 in literally 100 foot, and across the street is still 101. So that's like the root of the whole ordeal, is that the dang Morrows developed before everything else did, before 911 was even there, I guess. And all of this stuff is just like coming to fruition. So I've had to call the county. It's been a wild path. I don't even live there anymore. And it's,
well, here's what it all boils down to. Here's where it all went wrong. By all of us sharing one mailbox for so many years.
Yes.
We shared one mailbox, and that was mom and dad's mailbox. And we always shared one driveway. It wasn't until I decided to have my home there that I made my very own driveway. And that's kind of because I was dating at that time, and I didn't want mom and dad always eavesdropping, see who's at my house.
All of this is your fault because you were dating.
Well, so hold on. I mean, it's a long story, but
Doesn't feel that long.
I wasn't man whoring. I was not man whoring. But if I did have someone come over to visit, I didn't like being interrogated all the time. So I made my very own driveway, and that meant my very own mailbox. And I did all the groundwork to make sure that I had my very own route up to my house, because otherwise the original driveway was this: people driving all the way up to almost mom and dad's house, then turning and then coming to my house. And that meant that everybody was watching. And listen, if you think that I can be a peepat,
I was going to say, to be a peepat in those days.
My mom and dad have a big ass window that faces right out, and they sit there in their chairs and they see everyone coming up that hill. And when they turn towards my house, oh boy.
Think of the content that would have came out of being a peepat during those days.
Listen, my mom would purposely send Dusty over there. You'll see what your
Uncle Lester. Mother came over to me whenever I got there, and I didn't even use her driveway.
This is true. My mom noticed someone walking around my yard, some blonde chick out in my yard, and my mom says, we ain't having all this.
Gigi flies up behind me, truck sideways. Who are you? Hi, I'm Jamie. I'm from Illinois. I'm visiting Lester. He's a friend of mine. He asked me to meet him here.
Lordy.
Do you want me to call him to prove to you? And she's like, what part of Illinois are you from?
Yeah. You a Yankee? A Yankee or a rebel?
Why would you come to Texas? How long are you staying? Yeah, no joke. I got the Gigi friggin' up, down, and basically turn around date 2.
Yeah, small towns are known for peepatting, but Morrow Hill is especially known. But I'll tell you what, it was always worse if said individual's car was there overnight. If their car was there overnight, I knew I was in for it, because my mom wouldn't do it right, but she would call. She would call. When she woke up and saw that car still there, she would call me. Who's over there? How's that going to reflect, on to your nephews? How's that going to reflect, and all this kind of stuff? And she's always concerned about how me having someone overnight. I'm like, Mom, I'm on the couch. And Mom, she didn't believe that for a minute.
You're such a liar.
Well, my mom shouldn't have been peepatting me so much. So, we always joke about how beautiful it is to all live close to each other. But sometimes you don't want to be so close, y'all. You don't want to be so close.
Here's my question.
What?
Did you tell the women that your whole family lived there?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Because that would have been, obviously I knew, but if I was, you have to drive by your whole family to be able to get to your house, I would be like, could I just ride on the floorboard of your car? Like, I don't know. Like when you're first dating someone, like the last thing you really are thinking about is let's meet the whole family, especially like, let's just say that it was after a club or something like that.
Guys, so just have to understand, this is the old Lester. This was the old, foolish, immature Lester. Do not judge me today based on what happened 7 years ago. Okay.
No, today we watched Survivor.
I'm playing.
We watched Survivor and he scratches and, you know, tries to keep me awake and then he sleeps in and pee pats me. Like that's the new Lester. Old Lester, though, he had to, you know, justify every car that went up the driveway.
I'll tell you all a funny story. And this is actually relevant because we've talked recently. I forgot where, if it was a video or a live, but we talked about how sometimes guys will use whatever they can in their arsenal to try to impress the ladies, right? Guys will use whatever they can. So the problem with me is I never had any money, so I could not impress them with nice clothes or fancy dinners. That was never going to happen. I didn't have nice vehicles, so I couldn't like roll up in some big truck with these nice rims and this booming stereo. I didn't have the best of looks. And so I really had nothing in my arsenal. I had nothing in my arsenal.
That's BS.
Except I'm going to get to my arsenal. You ready? You ready?
I can also tell your arsenal, but go on.
Well, don't mention the baby. Let's not go there.
I wasn't going there. I mostly meant.
We all know where you're going with this, but let's just not go there, please.
No, sir. I was going
Jamie,
with your
please,
wit and humor.
Keep it Christian and save room for Jesus, Jamie. Keep it Christian and save some room for Jesus in this conversation.
I was talking about your humor.
Well, what I was saying is, so here's what I would do. This was my arsenal. This was what I had in my arsenal. So being that we do have a chunk of family land, and I knew that what I've always had is a four-wheeler. I've always had a four-wheeler because you have to have. Someone says this is just gross. I'm out. Well, have a fun day with your soap opera lifestyle. Save room for Jesus. Thank you, Yaya. Anyway, so what I would do is this is the dumbest thing. And women, beware and warn your children and grandchildren of stuff like this. But what I would do is ask them if they wanted to go on a late night four-wheeler ride.
I have a story to also talk about after this.
Okay, let's not talk about our adventures on the four-wheeler, please. Jamie, you got to really watch. This is a family channel, okay? So what happened was we only really have one trail. We have this trail that goes through the woods and it circles around by the river and comes back. It's probably on a four-wheeler, maybe a 3-minute ride, okay? And so when I take them on a late night four-wheeler ride, you need more than 3 minutes to can I say warm them up?
To what, Lester?
Can I say warm them up? I just mean like, like flutter. I want the heart to flutter, but you need more than 3 minutes for that. So here's what I would do. I would go down ahead of time and I would, even though we only have one main trail, I would crisscross and zigzag all over the place to make little mini trails. My dad hated that because he wanted to keep one main trail and he hated anyone getting off the beaten path.
Keep in mind, there is zero light besides potentially moonlight.
There's no light.
And that you have no idea where you're going.
So I would be like, okay, I saw you're okay with this. It gets pretty dark down there and there's a lot of woods. We're in a lot of woods, even though the actual woodage acreage there at the property in Plum Grove is very small, y'all. It's very, very small. So what I would do is to trick these poor ladies, I would drive and I would I would start doing all this zigzagging. Oh, I mean, I'm like making them believe we're like miles and miles from civilization. We're like miles and miles away.
We're 3 minutes.
And they're like, oh, this is all your land. I'm like, yeah, family land, man. We've been here for generations. And I'm just zigzagging left and right, probably hitting the same trail a few times. I'm hoping that these girls are dumb enough not to realize, wait a minute, we've already passed this tree. I've already seen that stump. So I'm just like trying to distract them. And I'm just driving literally in the same small patch, but I'm like doing these little zigzaggy circles and stuff around. Anyway, yeah. So, hey, I'm not saying it worked every time. But
you want to know what date number 4 was with Lester?
I don't even know date number 4.
Date number 4 was after Lester coached a basketball game. He asked me to come watch him coach.
Yes.
We stopped at Chili's on the way home and ate, and then we drove separately because we had two cars. I had the rental car and he had his vehicle. And when we got home, he goes, "Come on, I want to take you back and show you. I want to show you the land. I want to show you." And I'm like, "It's dark." You're like, "No, it's really beautiful." And although I will say that I don't think you had any time to pre-do or anything like that because it was cold. It was December-ish. And we went back and rode through Morrow Hill.
So Jamie will tell you, and I don't want you to tell him all of my secrets because I don't want other guys to use my tactics. But I would always at some point say, "Hey, you want to drive? You want to drive?" And lots of girls have never been able to drive a four-wheeler because that's kind of a guy thing and only country guys. And so once you got a girl to get up and sit in front of you, then you had to kind of like put your arms around her to show her where the throttle's at, where the brake is at, and make sure she could turn. And listen to me. I don't know the mind of a woman.
Yes, you do.
No.
You do enough.
I don't. But I think there's just something about, get over here. Bring your phone over here. Hey, you want to ride? You want to drive this thing? And there's something about this over here.
Keep in mind, it's freezing, and he doesn't say to bring a coat.
And I used to brush my teeth all the time. And I feel like, so here's the throttle, and here's the guy here. Put your hand in it. And I'd be showing you, man, this is very similar to like a guy showing a girl how to swing a golf club. You know, hey, here, you got to, or here, let's shoot some pool. Every guy's done it, y'all. Every guy has done it. Except, just get over a little bit. Every guy has done it, y'all. Ladies, don't act like my man took me to church and we sit and worship holding hands. Don't give me that BS. That's not true. What did he also do? Y'all had your own little Bible study, I bet you. But no, so that was the only thing I had in my arsenal. I had nothing else. Nothing.
Keep in mind that he did all of those things. And then at some point in time, I'm like, I'm cold. Are we going back to the house? Because at your earlier point in life, I imagine there was no house to go back to or anything like that. So whatever was going down in the woods.
So my dad could tell the story better than I could. But my dad has always had a camp house. Yes, my dad has always had a camp house. I would always go down ahead of time and prep the camp house for just in case scenarios. And I will say this, there was a whole lot of prep work that went into nothing, okay, for nothing. There was most of my prep work was all for nothing. But in case someone wanted to stop at the camp house, we could also go up inside there where they were greeted by nice candles and clean sheets on the little bunk bed, clean sheets on the bunk bed, candles. And there was always firewood to start a fire. And so we've always had a camp. So it's just how stupid. Well, it worked for some people, okay? It works for some.
So what happened on the nights that Dan was trying to do the same thing? That is a question I genuinely have. Because Lester and Daniel have very similar approaches and stories that crisscrossed on occasion. So how did you strategize about that? Like, Dan, I get Monday, Tuesday, and Friday.
I wish it was that easy. No, so this was not like on every day, y'all. Come on, this is not every day. This was just on a very rare, and I mean a rare occasion. But no, Dan didn't have a four-wheeler. So, but Daniel had a nicer truck. And here's why. Daniel didn't buy his nicer truck, but he was the baby of the family. So what does mom and dad do? Buy Daniel a very nice truck. I'm over here in my Toyota Corolla, and it's like an old Toyota Corolla that had hit a deer. And so the front end was smashed under. So I'm driving around in a Toyota Corolla, no matching tires, no matching rims. The front end is all beat in, and that was my transportation, okay? And the driver door would not open. So I had to climb through the passenger seat.
That's not the same car that couldn't make it over the bridge, though, right?
Different car. I've always had clunkers. And I'm like, thank you, God, for the clunker, but at least I'm driving something because mom and dad never helped me buy a car.
Now I'm going to change this a little bit because this car story for me is actually one of the sweetest, most romantic stories that Lester has. Take away all of his four-wheeler backwoods stuff because When we were driving one time to go get Lex, we had to take a different way, and there's a very large bridge that goes over. It's a ship port, right?
Yeah, the ship channel.
Channel.
The Houston ship channel.
It's giant, like probably the biggest bridge I've ever crossed in my life.
As far as tall.
Yes.
Yes, it's a very tall bridge.
So Lester tells me this story. He goes, there was a point in my life when I was dating Alma, which is Ellie's mama, who lived on the other side of the bridge, and
the ship channel.
And his car.
Houston ship channel bridge.
His car struggled like with transmission or something like that. And in order to go see her, he had to cross that bridge to go see her. And he would give it everything he had. Say it. Tell us the story, because it's a better Lester story than a Jamie story. But it is the sweetest. You showing the bridge?
Well, I'm going to try to. I know it's hard to see, and I can't put it on my computer, but it's almost like a straight up.
Yeah, it's like a roller
straight
coaster.
Up and come straight back down. It's like a roller coaster ride, okay? And so it's not a long bridge. It's just a really steep inclined bridge. And it goes up over the ship channel and then right back down. But like Jamie said, Alma, Ellie's mom, lived on the other side of that bridge. And at that point, I got rid of the Toyota Corolla because I was no longer going to be a Toyota man. And instead, I bought or traded for a little Z28. Is that a Camaro?
Yeah.
However, here's how I got a good trade. Because normally you have a vehicle that has 4 cylinders or 6 cylinders or 8 cylinders. Well, this was a 6-cylinder, which means all these pistons are working to give you power. But one entire side had gone out. So now I have a 6-cylinder vehicle that only operates on 3 cylinders. So I only have half the power I normally would. And even then you got smoke and you got all kinds of stuff. So the problem with having cylinders go out, that's where you get your compression, which means your horsepower, your get up and go. And so my vehicle would not go over that bridge. It would not make it to the top. If I was driving a normal 55 miles an hour and I'm going towards that bridge, once I started going up on that real incline, the motor could wind it all the way up, give pedal to the metal. The engine is screaming and I'm barely moving.
It's so sad and romantic to me because he was going to go take her on a date no matter what, but he was also not going to let her be a part of that bridge.
So what I had to do is start like a mile back, and I would all of a sudden start getting when the road was still flat. I'm going to gun it, and I'm going to get 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 miles an hour. I'm flying past you. Yeah. Now, I wasn't doing it because I'm a speed demon. I hate speed, but I needed the speed, the momentum, because once I got to that incline and I'm going 90 miles an hour, all of a sudden I'm going up and I'm going to start shaking here, but all of a sudden I'm going 80, then 70, then 60, then 50, then 40, then 30, then 20. And all these cars that I passed are all flying around me now, honking. Bah, bah. Trucks are going around me, and I'm just like pedal to the metal, smoke pouring out. But when I finally made the top, I knew from here on out it's going to be smooth sailing.
Get to go on that date. Might not to get to go home, but you get to make it to that date.
There was no other way to get to her besides having that ship channel. But hey,
I just think that's like the sweetest story. And so like there are people who are like, are you embarrassed by Lester's past? No, we all have a past. We all have done crazy things. I don't tell you all of my stories.
Most women don't kiss and tell.
Lester's stories are amazing. And then whenever there's so many there's so many sides of Lester. I'll just say that. And that one for me is like one of the most romantic things in your younger days. Like, didn't matter hell or high water, you were getting there to go on that date. And he was not going to let her in the car to be a part of that part either. So all their dates were on that side of the bridge.
Oh yeah. She would never come over that bridge with me. She would stay on that side, and I never knew if I was going to get back home or not. But it's funny, the things that we do as men and women. I'm sure you women have some stories as well. I know you don't want to talk about them, and that's fine. But I would love if y'all would tell us some of your stories of what was your man's go-to. That would be a question of the day for you. Could you ask your lady friends on your next question of the day, what was your man's go-to? What was his go-to? Because every man has a go-to. They have to. Now, I've learned later, once I got a little bit older and started working, that, yeah, I have some dance moves. That was kind of a go-to at some point. Being able to dance was huge. But no,
Like when you think so, but do women have a go-to too?
I think this a woman's looks when you're a young stupid man, when all you care about is looks, then looks are the go-tos. I think that women would agree with that. But because you don't appreciate humor, you don't appreciate a good conversation, you don't appreciate sincerity, you don't appreciate all of the finer things in life when you're young and dumb, right? You only start to appreciate those kind of things once you become more experienced with life.
It's funny because now in my head I'm going back through my big relationships and thinking about their go-to. And
so
wow.
It's true that all of the guys had some kind of a go-to. So how many of your younger relationships, the go-to was the vehicle? Even the fact that they had a vehicle meant there was a way to go out.
Yeah.
So that was important that someone even had a vehicle.
Yeah, like in high school, a freshman, I dated a junior because obviously he had a truck and a driver's license. He had a 1990 Ford Ranger, I believe. It was red. It was 2-seater.
Oh, whoa.
Yep. Not a bench. It had 2 seats.
Okay. And then so that was the go-to.
That was the go-to because he had a car.
Because he had a car. Because he had a car.
Yeah. And then later in life, I'm trying to think about next would have been I've always dated older people. So then after that would have been Xander's dad, and he had a good job.
So he had a job, made some money. He could buy you some things.
He could afford like dating and things like that. And then later, God, this is horrible. I'm going through relationships. Would have been my ex-husband, and that would have been.
He had a good job too.
He was a chiropractor.
He was a chiropractor. So Jamie's always dated older men. So I don't know.
Yours was the 4-wheeler ride though.
Oh yeah, my early years of dating, my go-to was always the 4-wheeler, and that was the only thing I had in my arsenal.
It was like in the very first date though. You do remember we came back to the house and you rubbed my feet. You remember that? You don't remember that?
No, I'm sorry, I don't remember, Jamie.
Our very first date, he was like, "Let me show you Plum Grove." After we went to eat fajitas with a fork, you were like, "Why don't you come back to Plum Grove with me?" And you're like, initially you had offered to like pick me up at the airport. You'd offer to pick me up at the hotel, and I was like, "No way, no! I'll drive myself, and I'll meet you at the restaurant."
Yeah, she was smart enough to know that if you don't know somebody, do not.
Don't put yourself in
vehicle.
do not put yourself in a situation to be stuck somewhere. Well, then after he didn't murder me at the restaurant, I guess I caved, and
don't forget I was wearing my Adidas jumpsuit. That had to have been something.
So he was like, "Do you want to come?" Now, keep in mind, this is still post Harvey, only a few months past, and like, yeah, I want to go see it. But
you'd also had already seen a ton of videos, so you knew I wasn't a complete weirdo.
Yeah.
And I think that in today's world, with everyone having access to social media, you can find out a lot about a person.
Oh yeah, it's way different. Way different.
When someone doesn't tell you their social media, they don't want you looking at their social media. That would be a red flag to me.
Or they have none.
Or they
have no online.
I don't use Facebook.
They have no online presence whatsoever.
He's trying to hide, y'all. He's in hiding from somebody.
So so I came back, and then of course we did the tour and whatnot, and then you're like, do you want something to drink? Because this was a Sunday afternoon date. This was not like a nighttime date. It was still daylight, and it's actually almost 7 years in a few days. Now that you think about it.
Oh, I've been thinking about it. The 12th.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I know.
Oh.
So now we were talking long before.
Yeah, we were talking long before.
But we've been talking for months earlier before we finally ever met. But we actually met on November the 12th of 2000.
The famous lunch
17
date.
Or 18.
The famous lunch date. Well, hold on a second. That was the first time that we met alone.
Yeah.
Like to be able to.
Oh, we FaceTimed aplenty.
Anyway, so we went to have lunch, and then we came back, and then after you asked, "Do you want to come in?" You're like, "Give me your foot. I'll rub your foot." And I was like, no man has ever done that, and that was history.
Yeah, I've added a few things to my arsenal. I don't just take four-wheeler rides anymore.
No, he saves that for later dates. Saves that for like, let me pull something out of the old hat here of what used to work. Yeah.
Oh, everyone knows about our bath time FaceTimes. Yes, that's true. That is true. And then Jamie would always do that stupid thing that women do. I'm sorry, ladies, no offense, but where she'd always show me her toes all the way up to her knees and a little bit of her thigh. I'm like, what you doing? And she put that camera in reverse mode. And it would be her toes up by where the faucet's at, down to her, I guess she'd probably already shaved real fast first or whatever. All of her shin up to her knees, and then a little bit of her thigh. And I'm like, what else you got on? I don't know what I would say. Yeah.
And I was like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I think still to this day that that's the only reason that he was like, hey, if you're ever in no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Because if I would have said yes, then what?
Because that's what happens today. This is true. And I don't know why we're talking about dating because you and I, this is crazy talk, but we're almost at an hour of talking about dating. But listen, here's what I've always told my students in school when I taught. I'm like, there's an expression that says, why buy the cow if you get the milk for free? We've all heard that expression. Why buy the cow if you get the milk for free? And I says, ladies, I says, stop showing these guys, stop giving them access to everything, because they do. If you don't know that, folks, I'm sorry to tell you, but it's really bad whenever you have middle school and high school girls who are revealing all to who they think they just love. Oh, I just love him. Here's me. And I'm like, why would you be showing them all of the goodies? Because this sounds really bad to say. I don't mean to say this against men, but a lot of men will, once you check that off, then you move on to the next one. It's like this quest for whatever. And, so no, Jamie was very careful never to show me anything above the knee. I didn't go asking, y'all. Come on now. You know me better than that. You know me better than that. Sheesh.
I believe the exact message was, I'll pick for a pick, I think is what you said.
Okay, a pick for a pick, but I meant like a nice facial, like a pick for a pick.
That's what you meant.
Can we just move on? There's other things we want to talk about. Let's talk about animals. How about we discuss animals for a bit? Okay.
Whatever. People did have one question. What was our best date so far? What would you say our best date was?
Our best date as far as what?
Like date, just like name a memorable date.
Well, so here's what I'm going to say. Now, you guys know that Jamie has a really nice job. And I would say the first year that we met, we'd been going out for a while, but she took me. Here I was, a broken man. And when I say broken, I mean I was broken in every way imaginable. I was having family issues. I was obviously in financial ruin. I had nothing going for me, besides my health, I guess. But the house was being worked on, and it was just crazy. And Jamie knew how stressed I was, and she saw how much weight I had lost, and just the wear and tear was just, the despair was just all over me. And so she had her vacation time from work, and so she invited me to go with her on a trip. Now, it was somewhere in Mexico. I forgot the name of the resort.
It was in Cabo.
It was in Cabo, San Lucas, which is a really nice place.
It was the Hyatt Ziva.
It was the Hyatt Ziva. And so I had never in my life been on that kind of a vacation. So that was really neat. And so I remember that. And and just being able to fly there and then have the experience of a I wouldn't say it was like a 5-star resort, but it was the kind of place where they would greet you. It wasn't a motel. It was not a motel. I know about motels. Okay. This was not a motel stay. This was a place where the guy would come out, open the door. They insisted to take your luggage. I found out later they only want tips. Yeah. But whatever. I'm like, hello there, my good sir. And I'm like just trying to live large. Didn't know what I was doing or where I was at.
That was Lester picked me up from the airport that night dressed in a suit.
I did.
And held a sign that had my name on it with a heart.
And I
as the
stood
eye.
with all the other drivers. So I was like a driver, and it said
You should have had
Walker.
that hat. That would have been great.
Man, I know. But no, that was probably the.
He did not
most
take HEB
memorable.
bags, Cynthia. I actually bought him a suitcase to be able to take that trip too. It was
Hotel, motel, Holiday Inn. Yes, Kara. No, that was Shara. Was that Shara or Kara? I couldn't see the name. Where did that go? She knows. That's Shara. Shara Gilbert, girl. Where your mind at, huh? You know that song?
I do.
So no, that was a wonderful getaway. That's where you taught me about flavored coffees.
Yeah.
They would also, this is pretty cool. I don't know how they did it, but they would make your coffee, and then they would always find a way to use the cream to write your name or write their logo, or they would do something on your coffee. So whenever I would come back with the coffee, I'm like, look what they've done. And the coffee has like writing on it. And that was pretty fancy. So
that was a very good one. For me, Lester took me to the Houston Rodeo our first year together. And I literally got the opportunity to say, this is my first rodeo. And we went and saw Garth Brooks, which was incredible. Like, I've only been to a few concerts in my life, but I would say that Garth Brooks is the ultimate.
Oh, he's the best.
Like, that's like the pinnacle of concerts. And we really did see the rodeo. I'd never been to anything that large in my life or walked through the Houston Rodeo is like a carnival outside and all kinds of things. And oh my God, Lester made me eat a corn dog that was like 2 foot long and take a picture doing it.
I'm sure I probably had some perverse comments about it too, but that was the old days. I mean, I guess we were making videos back then.
No,
we were not.
You had just like the coming home video and a few things like that. But like, okay. That was like before. That was before
it really took off.
Yeah. But that for me was like, this is embarrassing. That was the first time I actually felt like I had allowed myself to go on a date that someone else completely planned. And it wasn't just like a meetup. And that's not like, degrading our first meeting or first date like that. But Lester did all of that, surprised me with the tickets, bought the hats, and, told me I needed to wear boots. So that was a funny thing. And just sort of like he took off work a little bit early, came home, picked me up, and we went. And that was the first time that I had ever really allowed, I guess, myself to be dated in that way as well. So it was really romantic and fun. And we were out so late because we sat in that traffic at the end of the concert for like 2 hours trying to get out of the parking lot.
Yeah.
And that was really awesome.
Another anniversary date we went on that I think was the funniest date. I took Jamie to a comedy show, but this comedy show was not one of the nice ones. It was not like a Matt Rife or anyone, it was not a nice venue. Okay. It was a warehouse in downtown Houston that I'm sure they opened up just for this event.
Literally a warehouse with folding chairs.
It was a warehouse with folding chairs. They had a bar that you had to go to yourself. They didn't have bartenders. But the reason I took her is because they publicized there was going to be a rap battle. Now, don't forget, I know a little bit about rapping.
He is the Red Rapper.
I used to be the Red Rapper. But no, the funny thing is the comedian was going to have a rap battle versus, you ready for this one over here? Versus Stephen Hawking's wheelchair. Now, Stephen Hawking had just died. And so we all knew that you all know Stephen Hawking, the guy from the wheelchair, the brilliant mind. So Stephen Hawking had just passed away. So that was all fairly fresh in everyone's mind. And this guy was going to rap battle his wheelchair. Now, don't forget, Stephen Hawking had a way to communicate using some kind of device in his wheelchair. I don't know how that setup worked. I don't even know, did he even talk or he just vocalized and it talked for him?
It went off of his eyes, I believe.
I don't know how it all worked, y'all, but you all know Stephen Hawking, and he passed away, but his wheelchair did not. So this guy was going to have a rap battle versus Stephen Hawking's wheelchair. That in itself was just freaking hilarious, the idea of that. And so sure enough, we get to this little cheap venue, And here comes this rapper. He's all stretching and warming up, getting his vocal cords all ready to go. And out rolls this wheelchair and spins around. And you remember how that wheelchair, how the voice would sound. It was like a robot, whatever. And so you had the big screen. They had a projector. And so the words would come up on Stephen Hawking's wheelchair, whatever it will say on the little computer would pop up into the big screen. And no, this guy just had this rap battle with this wheelchair, and it was the funniest thing. I laughed and I laughed and I laughed
so much that Lester became the target of the rap battle from that point.
Yeah, they made fun of me
because he was wearing a sweater vest.
Okay, Jamie, we don't have to go into all of that part of the night. Bottom line is, it was one of my funniest dates we've ever been on, and most men, I would say, very memorable. So
yeah, a lot of our dating though was projects at the house, honestly. Like, that sounds really silly, but this girl showed up in white Nikes, okay? And this girl had never touched fencing or things like that. I wasn't afraid of it.
The wheelchair won the rap battle, obviously.
Yes. But a lot of our dating was projects, and our time together was doing things like that around the farm. And I think there were so many moments that were
rap
like
battle
that.
Versus Stephen Hawking's wheelchair. I don't know if that's ever been done again, but if I can pull something up, I will do it. I can't find it.
Yeah.
So at the time there was a show. It was celebrity rap battles. You know about that?
Yeah.
And so here's a sample of something really dumb.
You're probably gonna get copywritten for that.
You think I will?
Yeah, I think you should not do that.
Okay.
That's got an M on it. So definitely.
All right. So I can't show you all, or we're going to get a copyright strike, and we do not need strikes. Okay. No. We already, well, I ain't going to talk business. Yeah. We don't want to get any strikes. So, all right. Well, listen, friends, we are actually past our hour. There's a lot of things going on around here today. Now, it is a rainy day.
Yeah, that's the dishwasher again draining.
Sorry. Our dishwasher's on, so it's making these really weird noises.
It's gurgling a little in the sink.
So,
yeah, so a lot of big things happening today, except for it is raining. So a lot of those big things are trying to fit in between the rain. I have some repairs that I'm doing. You have to go to the JL.
I got so much work to do at the JL. What I need is, I need like a full day, an overnight, and then work the next day. Yeah. I need 2 days of work over there, but it's mostly just water stuff. I got all the pastures mowed. I just have to figure out a way to get the water system under control, because those cows are something else. I don't think people realize how mischievous they can be. And then everyone's saying, Lester, they're only that way because they're bored. But guys, come on, who entertains cows? Who has to go by and entertain cows so they don't get bored? I mean, what kind of a lifestyle are these cows living where they're so bored? Let's just go break all of dad's water line. We're so bored. Let's go to the tractor and unplug all the hydraulic hoses. We're so bored. Let's go chew up all of the, I mean, I don't know. What do you do to keep cows from being bored?
I think that so this is not a dig at you, but it's a lot of cows are focused on where their next meal is going to come from. And because we provide grain to them that most farmers probably do not.
The feed buggies.
Yeah, that their bellies are full. So now they're like, now let's mess around and do other things, entertain ourselves, because they aren't worried about eating.
That might be true. When you don't want to apologize for having cows that are content and healthy and happy and full. You don't ever, want to apologize about a full belly. But I will say this. I think that it's more important to keep your horses kind of hungry.
Yeah.
Because you need a horse to respond to things. Oh boy. Look who's finally showed up.
You're showing our messy counter.
It's okay. Hank is finally coming over. It took him a while. There are things that
he's yawning.
There's things that we've noticed about Hank that is unique to what he's become lately, that he's never done in the lifetime of having, Jamie having him. And one of those things is every evening when we sit down on the recliners here behind me to watch whatever movie or whatever show we're into, Hank has to jump from right here where we're standing.
It's like the most fun thing.
Over onto Jamie's shoulder. It doesn't matter if she's eating or drinking. He jumps. and she squeals and screams.
Well,
whatever.
he jumps and he lands on my chest.
Yep.
It's not that he lands on the back of the couch or anything like that. He lands on my chest. And Hank is like a 22-pound cat. So it takes my breath away. And if I'm drinking or eating or doing something else like that, like they'll land like here and just like, I don't know why he's doing it. Like it's the most fun game ever because like, hey, look what I can do.
Yeah.
I will mess you up. Like.
So that's one thing that he does, and which is cute. You love him, but he's cute. Now, the worst thing that he does, that he's also didn't do before, he comes to the bed every night, and he will lay between us. He wants to get between us, which is fine. It's cute. But here's the problem. If I try to move him, he will bite me. He will literally bite me.
He only has 2 teeth.
No, he's missing most of his teeth.
Yeah.
But he will get mad and bite.
He's mad right now that you're talking
And
about him,
I get mad back at him. I'm like, move, you even just move. So I take the blanket and I start doing this. Because you can't touch him. If you touch him, he's going to bite you. So Jamie has to wake up.
But I don't know why you're so scared of it because he has no claws and 2 teeth and he doesn't even hurt. It's just the old principle that they're like having this headbutting challenge.
That's what he does right there. It may not hurt, but
he
it scares
doesn't
me.
do that. That's
what he does.
That's not what he does.
He grabs my arm. He pulls me in. He wraps his arms around me, and he begins to bite with his 2 teeth. And he does it every night. And I can't stand that. So I'll take the blanket, start shaking it in his face until he finally moves, or Jamie wakes up and she'll reach over and come on, Hank, and put him on the other side, and then I can go to bed. But that's another thing that he does that he hasn't always done, that he's like, whatever.
It's new. Like he has not been that cat. And I genuinely believe it's entertainment for him to mess with Lester.
It is entertainment. He loves to mess with me.
For me, it's the messing on the couch because I don't sit down until I'm ready to sit down. So it's usually not till after 9, probably closer to 10, and I'm probably gonna fall asleep pretty dang quick. And he is right, like it's like he's waiting for me to take that seat. He cannot wait for that to happen because he doesn't do it if you're sitting there.
Something else that he does a lot now. Now, listen, he didn't always do this. For the first year and a half or so that we lived here at Longhorn Lester's, he wouldn't go outside. He didn't care to go outside.
He did when we lived in Plum Grove.
In Plum Grove, he did, but when we moved over here, he would not go outside. He was content to just do his thing. But I think that with Mabel and Aries coming in and going out, he began to get curious of what's going on out and about. And so now he wants to go outside.
He actually fed up with me last night. And that was the first time, he used to do it in Plum Grove all the time. He would sit on the tractor. Hank was just like always present. I was filling up waters. He'd be right next to me. But last night he fed horses with me, which is crazy.
Which is scary because I told Jamie when I was leaving here yesterday, driving to the JL, I saw Hank in the horse pasture and the donkey, I think it was Beverly, was chasing him. And he was like running around he can't climb a tree because he has no claws. So he's running around the tree in circles. And I had to honk my horn and scream at Beverly. And when I got her attention, he ran out of the pasture.
But I don't know why he's doing what all of a sudden has created this.
Why would he want to be out there in the horse pasture is beyond. Yeah, I have no idea. Normally he goes to the loft up here above us.
Yes.
And he hangs out on the
ridge.
The ledge of the stairwell or whatever, and kind of watch us as we work or do whatever we're doing.
Yeah, Hank's fixed everything. Like all that is Hank is 12.
How old is Hank? He's 12. He's older.
I think he's 12 or 13. I have to think about that. But 12's he's an older cat. And all of a sudden, these changes are like within him. And all we can think about is that Mabel and Aries have that's what they do. And he's like getting more and more curious about like, where are they going? What are they doing? But they have claws. So.
And then I will end this live by saying I'm so very happy that Jamie had a Lester/senior moment. I believe it was a YouTube video where she called the new horse, Prim. She called her by the wrong name.
I didn't say it in the video. I just titled the video wrong. But everybody was like, Jamie, you're having a Lester moment.
Mm-hmm.
I fixed it after I realized it. But I did it when I was tired. Probably sitting on the couch right here about dozing off, watching Survivor.
Yeah. Anyway, listen, it's been a real pleasure hanging out with you all this morning. I want to say thank you to the moderators to keeping the page happy, and I'll let you all know that don't ever be afraid to share an opinion. We don't want you to think that our page is being policed so heavily, because all of the moderators know that allow opinions, absolutely allow opinions, but just also remind people to keep it friendly. Let's keep, let's not provoke anger. And there is a respectful way to disagree with somebody. There's a respectful way to disagree. And we're not perfect, y'all. We make a lot of mistakes, and we have learned so much from you all. I would say that I'm 10 times a better, I'll say farmer, even though I don't really think myself as a farmer, but I am 10 times better with these animals because of things I've learned from your comments. So share ideas, share opinions, share your thoughts. Just don't argue with each other. There's not a place to argue. And then I said to the moderators yesterday, I said, listen, I says, just don't ban people unless they're asking to be banned. There are people that will come at you and they will downright tell you how stupid you are and how idiotic and those are the kind of folks who probably just find the happy place somewhere else.
I'm getting a lot of that today, but yeah.
Well, but I'm like, but by all means, invite them to comment, invite them to share, invite them to do all the things. Don't ever discourage people from sharing an idea or a comment. We don't have those kind of moderators, y'all. We're not trying to say, agree with me or you're out of here. No, not at all. But I appreciate the ladies doing that. That helps us so very much. And we are going to make this page a happy place again. And we're doing that because comments is as much a part of a video or a live as what's going on here. I really do believe that. And so thank you for commenting. Please don't shy away from commenting. Just find and think about respectful ways of saying things. And then they're also going to remove the comment if they have to before banning will be the last straw. So we're not having moderators go here and ban everybody. No, not at all. Maybe removing a comment, because we all say things we shouldn't say. We get mad. We're not thinking. We're just kind of like upset about whatever. So agree to disagree, friends. But thank you so much to our lovely and just wonderful moderators. One day I want to introduce them like on a live, like a split screen, and have each of them come on and talk about themselves, where they live, what they do. I'll have to clear that with all the ladies first, make sure that they're okay with that. But that would be a lot of fun. I would love that.
Awesome.
So anything else you got?
Going to hopefully be a big day. We're a little bit dependent upon weather, but nonetheless, I have plenty of work to do because it's Saturday and I'm not actually on a Zoom all day today. It's so great. I love Saturdays. So I hope you all have a safe and productive Saturday as well. Lester and I are going to get going here, but thank you for taking the time and giving us that greatest gift of all and allowing us into your homes and phones. We love you so very much, and we hope you stay well, and we will catch you on the next video. And I will end the video the same place. Thank you, guys. Hey, Hank. Babe, people are in the green room. Better hurry.